All right, it's Friday on Chicago Hockey Radio. Justin Lynch, Lee Grossman, and Tassos Kirkos joined alongside producer Raven Gasser on the other side of this wall here in the studio. Thanks to everybody joining us wherever you are coming from. Very exciting day around these parts. The day that Justin, I feel like, has been waiting for 3 months now. Frank Nazar called up, but we're going to talk back to back on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. And we will be live streaming the game Tuesday against, oh gosh, who did they play Tuesday?
Capitals.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No OV Capitals. And then they play the Kraken on Thursday, right?
And I will be there.
And you will be there. Cool. Maybe we'll have to get tickets to that game. But yeah, cool. All right. And we'll all be here for that live stream on Tuesday against the Capitals. I wish OV was playing. That would have made it a lot more fun.
It's hopefully help them out that get closer to Gretzky, right? I mean, it's not the same watching them without Ovi. So hopefully he'll be back soon. But Stromer's been playing great, so it should be a great game.
Yeah, Lee live streamed the game. Oh my gosh, that was last night. That feels like that was literally last night. It feels like 3 nights ago. I don't know. That was such a fever dream. But yeah, that was great. They lost, but that was a crazy game. Good job on the live stream last night. That was really good. A lot of people joined. Very active chat.
Yeah, we thought before the game, I said to Justin, I'm like, this is going to be another 2-1. But then I'm like, everybody thinks this is going to be so low scoring because both these teams suck at putting the puck in the net. And I literally said, watch it end up being a 5-4. And it ended up being a fucking 5-4.
Yeah, you were dead on accurate, man. Gosh, I hate it when you're right. I actually love it. That was entertaining. It was definitely one of the hockey games of all time last night. Just watching your live stream, definitely. It was very entertaining as well. So you did a great job. I got to give your props there as well. Definitely a very interesting night.
Yeah, it was like and I talked about it on the post game last night. It was like the entire second period and then the first half of the third period was just like abysmal hockey from us. And then we locked in with 10 minutes left when we were down 4 goals. So weird game, honestly. But yeah, still fun to do the live stream because everybody pulled up and we're talking and chat and we had a good time.
Nice.
Okay. Well, where do you guys want to start? Do you want to pick up the conversation from last night, Justin? You want to get your thoughts in on last night's game a little bit here?
Yeah, sure. Then we'll get to the good stuff. We got to get the bad stuff out of the way. Well, it wasn't all bad, but yeah, last night, I do think those late goals made it look a bit better than it was, right? 5-4 looks a lot better than 5-2. And yeah, like that second Bertuzzi goal, like that was kind of a garbage goal, but the third one was nice. But anyway, in terms of the night, I mean, the first period was great. I thought there was a great first period for the Hawks. I thought the second half of the third period was great. But outside of that, the second period was just terrible. And the first half of the third as well. This team continues this kind of run of like just from period to period looking completely different. But I like to see more offense. I think that's a positive. That's my main takeaway, positive takeaway from last night is, putting 4 goals on the board. You would think that'd be a Hawks win, but it wasn't. It was kind of Soderblom's first kink in the armor this season. It was a rough night for him. It wasn't all on him. There was definitely some defensive lapses, but like we outshot the Isles like big time. I mean, I don't think there's been a lot of games this season the Hawks have had consecutive games of outshooting the opposition. I don't know if that's ever happened this season. So I thought they played well, honestly, for the most part, except a few lapses here and there. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely one they probably could have come away with. But just, you're not going to win a lot of games letting in 5. Especially, how do you let that Islanders team put up that much goals is definitely a question because they're not known to score many. That's why I thought it'd be a low scoring game, and no, and it wasn't a boring one. No, the Islanders is like watching paint dry, but that was a fun game to watch last night. So that's what the Sorensen era Hawks give you. They give you the entertainment. They're fun to watch. That's what I asked for. So, but yeah, and also Bedsy, our beautiful boy, 3-point game. What a goal, man! What a goal he had. A beautiful toe drag release. Patented classic Bedsy goal. I think it's fair to say he's got his confidence back. He's got his swagger back. 5 points in 3 games under Sorensen now. He looks like himself now. So that's another positive takeaway. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really a perfect tank loss, right?
Yeah.
Can't draw up a better tank loss than that. The only thing that wasn't maybe great was, and I think you were probably you seemed to be a little more critical of him than I was, but weren't happy with Mr. Sodi and that.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, not all on him. And you know what? Like, we were wondering how he looked like as a starter. That was basically his third straight game. And that was a rough one. I think he probably needs a bit of a break there. We even saw Drew Comesso make a very brief appearance. I mean, the team locked in. I will say, when Comesso came in, the team definitely locked in. I think they let him, like, I think he had to save like 2 shots in like 11 minutes. So they knew they didn't want to put, that young goaltender in a tough situation. And I think what will be interesting if we see him this weekend or Saturday or Sunday. I think good chance he probably starts tomorrow, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, Soderblom, it was definitely a rough one, but like it's his first one of the season, right? Every other game he's been good, so I think he was probably due for a game like that. And again, it wasn't all on him. I think there were some good chances that the Hawks D kind of gave up where it was tough for him.
Tassos and I kind of both agreed on the stream last night that we both kind of thought Soderblom should start tomorrow and then Comesso get the start at home on Sunday.
It makes more sense because the Devils, you really don't want to. Do you really want to start Drew Comesso his first official, debut start against this high flying Devils team? Probably not. Um, Although Soderblom, the way he looked against the Isles, do you really want to put him against them again too? Like that's the question, right? That's the debate. But I reckon I have a source. I reckon Comesso is going to start tomorrow, but we'll see what happens.
You have a source.
I do have a source, actually, a
Right.
family source.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I'll just say it now. I don't know if I'm allowed to break this, but yeah, Biak Beam's insider from Drew Comesso's brother, he DM'd me on Instagram, said he and his family are going to the game and Comesso's starting tomorrow. So
Okay.
we'll see if that actually happens. But I think that's probably a pretty good source right there.
Okay.
Damn, breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, Biak Beam's no insider here, right?
Who said CHR aren't insiders?
Yeah, I wasn't first to the Frank Nays. Well, honestly, I think I should get credit for that too, because like you said, I know probably get the Nazar later, but let's just get into him now. I've been calling for this move forever with Frank the Tank. I mean, if you've been listening to this show, loyal CHR listeners, I've been calling for this move for weeks, seemingly months now. It feels like months, and it's finally happened. So love to see that. Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank. So
yeah.
I'm very happy to see that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I thought we would do like a discussion on Nazar because I thought you guys would want to have some time. I did have clips from Comesso on playing in the NHL. I don't know if you guys, all the Sorensen stuff was he's very short. Like he's not very long winded where Luke sometimes would tail off into his words. Like Anders is a bit more, and it's not in the, Greg Cronin, Craig Berube style of like, hey, I'm like he's not like an overly like hard, like edged guy, like he's not like, if anything, like Luke Richardson might have been a tougher individual than Anders Sorensen was, or more, came across even a bit harsher. But, Luke would also just like kind of go off into these, ramblings a bit sometimes. And Anders, if anything, you're like, wait, shouldn't you like continue on with your point for another 5 to 7 seconds? Like you should have more to say than what you're saying right now. Sometimes with him, it feels like, I don't know.
Yeah, when he answers questions, it feels like he answers like gives half the answer and then just stops, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that. Just a man of few words, doesn't really want to talk to the media. I'm okay with that as long as the team's playing like they have the past few games and like actually looking to score goals and create offense. I'm okay with his lack of words in the media.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't, you don't give the media everything, right? Maybe there's a strategy to that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, we should let's play the one from Comesso on giving his team a chance at the end, at least. Do we have that, Raven?
Yeah, I'm just getting the timestamp real quick.
Oh, sorry.
There you guys go.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I've tried to adjust as well as I can in practice and, treat practice like game. And, my mentality is just to get in there. At the end of the day, it's still the same game. It's still the same puck, and my job stays the same. So.
Yeah. Very. He seems like he's. I said on air that he wouldn't be ready to face. Like I thought NHL shots were gonna blow by him, and he didn't face many shots yesterday. But do you really want to start him tomorrow against the New Jersey Devils? I know you broke the news here, which is good because we don't get a lot of breaking news on here.
I wouldn't, to
So,
answer your question. I don't think it's a great idea from the Hawks side. I think rather him face. Plus, he's got a little warm-up action there, too. Those two shots, I don't know, against his Sounders team. I'm just joking. But yeah, I think it'll probably make more sense to start him on the second half of the back-to-back. But yeah, we'll see what happens there.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he obviously only faced a couple of shots last night. Pretty much once he came in, the Blackhawks actually started playing hockey again, so he didn't really have
It
to.
woke him up. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't really have to make too many saves. Um, but yeah, I think it's completely reasonable to be a little concerned about him getting his first start against a team like the Devils, who are an offensive team, right? And they've got a ton of studs. They can shoot the puck. So it's going to be a good test. I don't know if we're going to have 3 games in a row of us massively outshooting our opponents. I would assume that we're not going to. So it's going to be a big test. And I think if he can keep them under 3 somehow, that would be insanity.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, last night was a high scoring game. I think tomorrow's probably going to be similar, but it's going to be a test, like you said. Hawks got to lock the hell in, right? Like, let's make life as easy as we can for him to start, right? We don't want to put him in a bad situation, ruin his confidence. Because I know he hasn't had the greatest season in Rockford. I mean, the team hasn't actually been playing as well as, the record should be better than it is, and they've been struggling under Mark Eaton now. I think that's probably one negative aspect of Sorensen promoting him is you lose that at the Hogs, and like they've been struggling lately. But back to Comesso, it's like you don't want to ruin a young goalie's confidence. So hopefully the team plays better defensively than they have been the last bit, because that's been the negative part, right? We talk about increasing offense, which is great, but the defense has been lacking a bit. So we need to see more of what we've been seeing, like the Rangers game, for example, play like that.
Yeah. Should we pivot over to Nazar here?
Yeah.
Yes. Let's pivot to Nazar. Yeah, sorry, I was a little premature in getting on my Frick Nazar talk, but yeah, I think it's very warranted. I think he earned this call up, 24 points in 21 games in the AHL, leading scorer amongst AHL rookies. I mean, he's earned this call up. I think, like I said, I've been calling for it forever. If you've been listening, you know my reasons for why this is a right move. I think it's going to inject some offense in this Hawks team that needs. I know we scored 4 last night, but I think you throw him in that top 6, right? I assume he's going to be the 2C, but you could move him to the wing with Bedard. You could have him be the 1C, move Bedsy the wing. Like, you have options here with Frank Nazar. I do hope they play in the top 6 though, because like if you're calling up just to play him in the bottom 6, I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. But I think he's going to inject more life, more offense into this team. And I love seeing more of our young guns on this squad, right? We got Korchinski up here, and he's probably going to be up here quite a bit longer, especially since Martinez has just been placed on IR. So I love seeing these young guns on the team. I think that's the way it should be for this rebuilding squad. And that's a noticeable thing too. Like Sorensen's been here for a week, and we're already seeing all these young guns up here. So I know it's Cal from Chicago making those moves, but you can't tell me he doesn't have some input there. And he's coached these guys in the Ice Hogs too. So I think it's going to make that transition to NHL a lot smoother as well.
We did just get a comment asking if anyone's listened to Jeff Merrick's new show. He's criticized Buffalo several times for not leaving guys in the AHL to grow. I think Buffalo's a cautionary tale for us, and he said that Nazar is probably ready, but everyone else should stay for a little longer. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's like a real point. And regardless, it's like since Sorensen has been made the Blackhawks head coach, I think Rockford's 0-3. I think they've gotten
They've scored 1 goal.
Yeah, they've gotten pummeled every single game. So it's like now if Rockford's, if that's what's happening down there, he shouldn't be down there. It's definitely time to bring him up because, whatever development was going on down in Rockford has obviously come to somewhat of a halt since they've been getting crushed since Sorensen's been the Blackhawks coach. So yeah, I think it's time for him. There's no need to keep him in the AHL just because it's worked for other players. Like just because it worked for Alec Vlasic doesn't mean that you should have Frank Nazar playing for Rockford the entire season. So yeah, I think that it is time for him to come up. And then as far as like where he goes in the lineup, I asked you this question, Justin, before we started the show, because I know Anderson cleared waivers, but that was like our 13th forward. Now you have to ask who's going to get scratched from last night. And honestly, I think what they should do is what I would like for them to do is scratch Kurashev, put Donato up on the wing on the first line, and then let Nazar play the 2C.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I normally would tend to disagree with that, scratching Kurashev, but like, what has he done? What has he done lately? He's generally been terrible this season. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it anymore. I mean, 5 points in 26 games is like a negative. I've lost track of what his negative is. I think it's like negative 24 now. I think second's like negative 14 the team. So say what you want about plus minus, but that is very telling. And he needs a kick in the rear end, man. I mean, his game winning goal against the Wild. That's like all he's done all season overtime. So I think I mean, we need to see more of him from last season, right? He was second on this team in production. He was looking great, but Bedard, I'm not sure what happened there with Kurashev. So, I mean, I'd rather scratch somebody in the bottom six in that fourth line, but like maybe it would be a wake up call. But like we've done that with him. He's been scratched this season, hasn't worked out, hasn't sent that message. So I'm not really sure if that accomplishes anything. But yeah, I mean, with Nazar, I think 2C probably makes sense. It's probably the move. The Hawks have been searching for that 2C problem all season. That's been an issue. So I think he would probably solve that. So that would make sense from that standpoint. And Donato, like he's been playing so well where it's like you don't really want to demote him, right?
Yeah. Tassos, where do you think Nazar should go? And who do you think should?
Second line center, give him some power play touches. There are teams that are you should be able to integrate this kid pretty easily into the lineup. You know, you could even put him with Bedard and a guy like Teravainen or something like that. Like that'd be really fun and creative. Or if you're going to give Tyler Bertuzzi the need to feel like he needs to, or even put like Nick Foligno up there, like Nick Foligno, Connor Bedard, and Frank Nazar.
That chemistry.
Yeah. And I think that would be cool. Somebody that's really going to care about protecting those kids. Like, Pat Maroon can't skate with them. And Bertuzzi's not consistent enough, I don't think, on a shift-to-shift basis to not have those kids hemmed into their zone all the time too. But I don't know. They should put him with good players at least. Like put him with Taylor Hall. Put him with Hall and Bertuzzi. Like see where that goes for a little bit.
I think that'd be a good line. To Bertuzzi's credit, he's been playing so much better. All of a sudden, he's got 3 goals his last 2, scored 2 late goals last night. So I think Nazar between him and Hall, I think that'd be a great second line.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that one. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, bring him into the lineup and then having him play bottom 6 minutes wouldn't really make sense, especially if you think about who he'd be playing with if he was playing bottom 6. It just really wouldn't make any sense. So
unless it's with Lucas Reichel, but that's like it.
Yeah, no, but they're not going to have the fourth line be Frank Nazar and Lucas Reichel.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Because then that's kind of like they're trying to use those bottom 2 lines as like defensively responsible, somewhat shutdown lines. And so I don't think you're going to like mess that up and throw Frank Nazar there. I think you're going to see the change come from the top 6, not the bottom 6.
Yeah, it would be a ton of fun to see him play with Betsy, but I think like it would create more of a balance of power, right? Having them as the 1 and 2, 1-2 combo. I think that makes most sense, right? Nazar is such a good center too. He's good on both ends of the ice, so I think it would be fun to see him with Betsy. I'm sure we'll see him on the power play at least, but probably makes more sense to separate them at first.
True. Anything else? Any other notes on Frank Nazar?
I'm just excited, man. Like this weekend, he will be playing tomorrow, right? That because they called him up. I imagine he's going to be in the lineup, unless he's waiting for him to get home against Islanders.
Yeah, definitely.
He is playing tomorrow.
Has to, right? Why? Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense to do this now and then have him not play tomorrow.
Yeah, I was just wondering because, the road trip, right end of the road trip, and then they're back home Sunday. But yeah, that makes sense. I'm just more excited for this weekend now. I'm excited to see how he integrates. I mean, he looked good in that brief stint last year, right? Had his first goal and his first shot. I think Nazar, he has that it factor, right? He has that swagger. He has his confidence. He's a pro. And I'm confident in that kid that he's going to be a player in this league and a very good one of that. And hopefully we'll see that. But take some time too. Like let's keep our expectations in check. We might not see it right away, right? It's an adjustment, especially playing on this team, going from AHL to NHL. He's been producing at a great clip down there, but it might not be seamless right away. So, but maybe not. We'll see. I'm just really excited. That's my main takeaway. Really excited to see him on the team.
Yeah, I saw the Blackhawks. They tweeted it out that they were calling him up, and then immediately like tweeted right below a link to a picture of him, and then a link for the tickets on Sunday. And it's like
almost like it's a bit of a business move too.
Yeah, it's like you guys know everyone has been wanting to see this all season long, and now you're trying to cash in on it. I don't know. It's just it's funny. It's like I don't know why you didn't do this earlier. Tassos kind of mentioned it, like you fire your coach. Wouldn't it make sense to have done this before you do that? I don't know. But
Yeah, but I also said too, like when we did bring in Sorensen, right? That can't be it, right? There's got to be more moves to follow. We can't keep the same roster. There's got to be changes there too. So I'm glad that they've followed it up, right? Davidson did say give it a few games and eventually we'll see. Nazar, he didn't say that, but he said it without saying it, and here he is, as you mentioned, Lee. You called that one, so good to see that too. And just this, we're in the fun part of this team now. We're in the fun part of the rebuild. We're actually getting to see our future outside of just Bedsy on this team and performing and developing. This season should be all about development, especially of those young players. Development in the NHL and seeing that progress. That's what it's all about now. The wins and losses, it matters. It really doesn't with this team, to be honest with you. I want to see the young players cook.
So the article with Charlie Roumeliotis says that it is expected he is going to make his season debut tomorrow for the Blackhawks. 41 points in 41 games for Michigan last season. I don't know if you guys mentioned, but he leads the AHL. He leads AHL rookies in scoring,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So, and do we know where he ranks, like in the entire AHL?
He was second. He's probably dropped a couple of places now because he won a few games without a point because that, as Lee mentioned, that Sorensen less Ice Hawks team has been struggling. But I know he's up there, top five at least. Six. Okay, close.
Right
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Also on that list right now, above him, Vinny Hinostroza.
Isn't he leading?
No. He's fourth right now.
when Nazar was second, Hinostroza was first.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, Vinny Hinostroza is 27 points in 20 games. It's pretty.
That's wild.
He might have missed a couple of games here.
But yeah, hopefully that situation's able to turn around in Rockford too, because it's like you don't want those guys down there on a team that's just getting blown out. Hopefully they can find some sort of structure and get back to their game a little bit, because it was starting to turn around. They were starting to look really good under Sorensen. And then I think calling them up to the Blackhawks hasn't done the Hogs any favors.
And it's not going to get easier from now because all of a sudden a couple of their best players are with us. I mean, we'll see if Kevin stays up here. I know the plan might be to send him back down, but I'm hoping like Frankie plays too well to where they keep him up here. And I do think that's going to be the case of Frank. I don't think this is a temporary move. I think he's going to be here to stay. I think he's going to play great. I think he's going to last the season with the Hawks. Maybe get sent down for the Hogs' hopeful Calder run. If they even get there at this point, honestly, the way they've been playing, they might not even be in the playoffs. But yeah, for a player like Artie Levshinov, like that's like you want to see that team get back on track in that system because there's still a lot of good young Blackhawks down there, good young prospects. So hopefully Eden can get them in check here. I mean, he doesn't really have a lot of coaching experience. He's a big development guy, but this is kind of new to him. So it might take some time for that system to adjust, but it hasn't been great so far, as you mentioned.
The other thing too, do you guys know who, I mean, I know the answer. So do you guys know who Frank Nazar scored his first NHL goal on, the goalie?
Was it Kochekov or Hurricanes?
It was.
Yeah.
It was Kochekov. Yeah. Former Chicago Wolves goaltender, Peter Kochekov.
That's right. That was a beautiful first goal too. I love the celly he did, the little Michigan celly. That was beautiful. He's got that aura, Frank Nazar, man. I'm so excited, man. I'm pumped for this week. I know I've said it many times, but I think that these post-game shows this week are going to be cinema. No matter what the outcome is, I think just seeing him on this team, it's a breath of fresh air. I'm just good to see.
Yeah, it's just more things for us to talk about, right?
That too.
Having him up now, and we got Bedard, and hopefully Korchinski stays for a while. So it's going to be nice not having to just talk about like
punks,
guys like Connor Murphy and Craig Smith every night. So yeah, I think it'll be good for us and the Blackhawks organization.
As Lee would say, we've got real Blackhawks on this team now.
Real Blackhawks now, which is kind of what we've wanted all year. And it's going to make watching this team a lot more fun, as well as covering them. So yeah, let's see him hopefully have a good performance tomorrow, and hopefully Camesso's able to have a decently solid game. But yeah, I mean, tomorrow has the recipe to go horribly. Yeah,
I'm pretty nervous for tomorrow. Not gonna lie, I think Sunday's opportunity to get revenge on the Salas team, bounce back at home after a long road trip, but. Yeah, tomorrow against that Devils could be rough.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think that So, we've been hearing a lot about like the Brady Kachuk discourse in Ottawa and what's going on there. And I forgot what it might have been 32 Thoughts.
Yeah, they were just
they were talking about, so the question was, do you think Brady Kachuk has the most influence on their team's decisions out of any player in the NHL?
Yeah, it is kind of like LeBron-esque from like the outside looking in.
Where at the Sens?
Yeah, well, I have seen like I've literally seen clips of like I think it was like their general manager when they signed Olmark and they like went to Brady right away and they were like, we extended him and he was like, good, like he's fucking Darth Sidious or something. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess I've never thought about it, but from what I've seen,
You think Connor was like, hey, Kyle, it's time.
Yeah, Betsy's called the shots here. He's the real GM. But yeah, I don't think it's not just Davidson. Like, it's a management thing.
Do you think he might have been like, hey, like maybe they were chatting. He was like, hey, I could really use some help here.
Source has been talking to Bedard a lot, asking like where he needs help, like from that aspect too. Like maybe he was in his ear, like yeah,
everywhere.
I don't know.
Everywhere.
I don't know if I can see it just because I don't think that's like his personality. Like I can't see him like going out of his way, even if he like felt it and wanted it. I can't see him like saying
the Betsy we see in cameras is not the same Betsy we see when the cameras are off. It would not shock me. I think he's a very motivated guy. He's always looking not just things that he could do better, but that the team around him. It wouldn't shock me.
You don't think the guy doing the "Give It to Me" celebration on Long Island?
That was beautiful. I love he brought back that silly. Are you not entertained?
Is asking for Frank Nazar to come up? No, I don't think he was doing that personally.
Maybe.
I don't think he's gonna, and I don't think he's gonna play with Frank Nazar. I think Frank's gonna be on the second line.
I think they'll play on the power play.
That's special teams. Yeah, and I think eventually we'll see them together. Probably not right away, but I mean, in Sorensen too, he's not been afraid to experiment too. Like we could see a couple shifts here and there just to give it a shot.
Starved for talent.
Yeah,
starved.
For it. I think Nazar is going to be the second most productive forward on the squad. It might not be seamless, like I said. It might take some time, but I don't know. Like his confidence right now is so high. I do think starting the season in Rockford, well, I didn't love it. I think it's probably going to end up being a good move for the long term, right? I think he's going to come in here right away and just if he was started the season at the Hawks, it might not have looked like that, right? I think he's going to have that confidence, that swagger. He's going to inject a lot of offense in this team. It's going to be nice to see.
All right. Moving away from the Frank Nazar page, 2 games this weekend, like we've said. Tomorrow against the New Jersey Devils, Sunday back at home against the New York Islanders. And we've also kind of mentioned that it's kind of nice that we're getting the Islanders out of the way here. 2 games in like 4 days against the Islanders, and then that's it. We don't have to get the New York Islanders again until next year, which is kind of nice because...
Yeah, they're not the most exciting team to watch.
No.
Got to be honest, a 5-4 game,
not what I would have drew up. I would have thought
not being too bad.
Can we play? Yeah. Can we play the Patrick Waugh clip because we have it ready?
He was pissed.
Yeah, can we play it?
A 5-1 lead. Some of the guys were a little disappointed at the end, but do you look at it more as you get the points, you move on, and that's good enough?
Part of it. It's a win is a win, and we played to win games. But I guess times has changed because in my days, if my team would have done that to me, I will break a stick in that room. I'll be very upset to see my team playing like this in front of me. Ilya is a gentleman. He's a first-class person. But that was unacceptable. We didn't compete. We didn't battle in front of the net in the last 8 minutes. That's unacceptable. We talked about it this morning to be stronger. Our goalie deserves more respect than this from ourselves.
Yeah, I love Patrick Waugh. I wish he was more fiery than he was. Like, I wish he was like that all the time. With this,
I mean, he was like that a lot as a goaltender in the NHL. We're never afraid to show his emotions. I always recall his exchange with JR. That was pretty infamous. But yeah, Roz, you can tell he was pissed. I think he wanted to be more, show more of that, but he's got to be diplomatic as well. But yeah, I think as a goalie, I think he probably sympathized with Sorokin's situation there. I think just in the team, you're up 5-2 here, but you got to lock in, right, and close out the game. And they did it. They gave the Hawks a chance there to come back. I mean, Yeah, like the fourth goal was like with 8 seconds left, so it's like it's not enough time to do anything. It wasn't like, oh, we could tie this up here, but it's like the fact that we're even in that position it was looking like a blowout for a while that game. But at least Hawks made it interesting in the end. But yeah, with Raw and this Isles team that needs to lock in here, not really a great showing to end the game for sure.
Yeah, they looked like those last 10 minutes, they started playing like they knew they were going to win the game regardless. So they just completely took the foot off the gas, and we were able to pretty much do what we wanted. And yeah, I would be pissed if I was a goaltender because his save percentage dropped to below 900 because of those last couple goals. So that would have pissed me off. And I think was justified in saying.
Yeah. No.
He's been in those situations.
Yeah, you're 1,000% right. So I also just thought it was a weird game from Sorokin. Like we were talking about it during the live stream. It just felt like shots were hitting him up high, and like he was battling to like stay in it. Even like there were signs he maybe could have been injured or just like off of it. And yeah, I don't know. And then it was that nonsense at the end. I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like Hawks didn't realize that till the end of the game. It's like, oh wait, maybe we should be putting more pucks on this guy because he's been off, right? Maybe that's something they talked about in the intermission, something in the video. But yeah, it was clear he's a little off his game. Maybe that's why the Hawks offense finally exploded there. Hopefully it lasts, but the defensive goaltending unfortunately fell off. We can't have them all in tandem, right? There's got to be one that goes on, one that goes off. It's frustrating.
Yeah, you need to play complementary hockey.
Yeah.
Should we do question or just the Devils tomorrow? Because we've seen this Islanders team. I think it's interesting too. Like, you know, it's good that we're going to get them again on Sunday. I don't know that, you know, there was the Craig Smith hit, right? Who did he we never figured out who he hammered on that interference penalty. Yeah, but I don't know if there's no like animosity coming from that. Like the Patrick Waugh comments after the game were almost like the most spicy thing that happened, right? And that's not going to carry over unless we're going to see like, you know, Patrick Waugh jump in the glass to like fist fight Anders Sorensen at some point here for something. But
do they play today or tomorrow?
Who, the Islanders?
Yeah,
I'm sure they play tomorrow. Everybody plays tomorrow.
No, they don't.
Except for two teams. So no.
Yeah, they're one of the two that doesn't play, of course.
So
they're going to be well rested, that's for sure. Honestly, that might advantage us, to be honest. That's a bit of time off. I think and hopping right into it because it's a matinee tomorrow. Actually, it's a matinee Sunday too. They're both matinees, but it actually could benefit the Hawks. Honestly, we'll see. I do want a response though, for sure. But
tomorrow's our first noon. Tomorrow's our first noon Central start of the season too.
Oh boy,
that's exciting. Early,
yeah. Hopefully, get out of the way, right? But yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting game. Definitely, the Devils are a much more exciting team to watch than the Islanders. It's like talk about two completely different teams over there. But yeah, Bedsy versus Jack Hughes too. I'm sure that'll be cinema. And yeah, I'm excited for it. Nervous but excited. I think Nazar is going to help, but I'm not really looking at that as a W. But hopefully we can at least make it close and keep it interesting and exciting. But it's definitely a mismatch.
All right. So questions?
Sure.
All right. Questions every Friday. We do questions every Friday. We have Discord now. Link is in the description of every podcast going forward here. So join our Discord if that is your thing. If you feel like you'd like to join a community more and you want to be in a chat where you can talk a lot, or you want to, that's just like how you talk with your friends, or it's big in the gaming community. I don't think the three of us are not very familiar with Discord, but we're going to familiarize ourselves with it. Raven is probably the most familiar with it out of all of us, so he is a beauty and he set all of it up for us. And we got one question from Discord, and we got a couple others from Instagram and stuff too. So you can continue to DM us questions. You could also join the Discord and ask questions there. There's a space to do it there, right, Raven?
Yes, it's at the very bottom under the forums, Chicago Hockey Radio. There will be a post for every single week that we going forward now. So there's one for today. Starting tomorrow, I'll create a new one for next week, and you guys just can leave questions there.
Cool. So yeah, link to join the Discord is in the description of every podcast episode going forward and every post game and everything. So from the Discord, from Skywalker 4D8. Do you guys think the Blackhawks buy a little bit at the deadline in addition to selling what they can?
I don't think the Sox team is going to be a buying team at the deadline. Definitely a selling one. I could bet on that. I think we've talked about Donato a lot of this. I think he's definitely a piece you want to look at selling. Taylor Hall as well. Martinez, if he could stay healthy, but unfortunately he can't. Anybody else you can look at, but I don't think the Hawks would be in that situation this deadline. But offseason, I
Yeah.
hope so.
I think they're going to sell, and then they're just going to bring up players from the AHL
Yeah.
to kind of fill the missing holes for the remainder of the season, because it's going to all happen in like beginning of February, right? So, yeah, no, I would be pretty surprised if they buy it. You're not in a by then you're not going to be in a position to buy, because if you're still like at the bottom of the league, yeah, you're not going to like try to get into a better standing. With just a couple months left in the season, and then risk not being a top 4 pick of the draft. So
We,
I
we
don't think
talk about teams buying for their playoff and cup runs. How about buying for their lottery tank runs? No, but yeah, I'm not really heard of that. No, it's not the way around, right?
yeah, unless we buy some like unless we pick up some like bad contracts, which I could see maybe happening.
Yeah, it could be like a third party dealer in those situations, right? Where teams need to retain cap, stuff like that.
Oh,
But
I think
yeah,
you
no,
guys are.
no.
I think you guys are losers, and I think the Hawks are going to be in play for a major acquisition at the deadline here.
Ooh,
something,
okay.
something really big, something akin to a Roberto Luongo when the Panthers reacquired him from the Vancouver Canucks a while back, and that was sort of the move that was. They drafted Barkov and they but that was the move that was like, hey, we're going to do something to teach these guys like that. And Roberto was really good. I don't know. I think the Hawks are going to be in the play. Maybe not for like an older veteran like that, but I've been calling for like a player that is going to be a part of this core going forward. And there's not all of these players, even if we say, hey, this is the last, because if you're Carl Davidson and you want to keep your job, this is probably the last draft that you can say, hey, this is the draft, right? Like for us, you can't say like we can't have another season of this, right? Which
I
is why
agree.
I don't.
But
Which is why I then beg the question of how important is the draft? Like, can we really put so much stock into this upcoming draft if next season is so big for us already? Right? How would you do that as an organization? Because unless you're picking first overall and James Higgins is leaving Boston College, who is stepping into the National Hockey League right now? Porter Martone probably needs another season in the Ontario Hockey League. Any of those players. Matthew Schaefer, which you guys would, riot if there was another defenseman picked in the first round.
Yeah,
But
that would be criminal.
You're hoping that Oliver Moore. You need to trade for somebody. So I would love to believe that either at the deadline or at the draft. At the deadline, you'd have to capitalize on tensions boiling somewhere, right? And like a situation becoming untenable to the point where like a Brady Tkachuk or a Mitch Marner or Elias Pettersson.
You're not going to get Mitch, Pettersson, or Rantanen at the deadline because they're going to be gearing up for the playoff.
Free agents.
Can I bring up a name to you guys that like, what about Matt Barzal? What about Matt Barzal?
I think. Wait, but Bedard said if there was a player like he'd like to play with, wasn't it Matt Barzal? Like, did he not say that? I think that's a quote he's had this season. Yeah, there you go. That's it. That's the move. We talked a lot on the show on the Wednesday pod about unlocking Matthew Barzal, right? Because he's kind of in a tough system with the Islanders. He's never really been able to show his true game. Playing that defensive grinding style. Like, he had an amazing rookie season, and that he's never really lived up to. I know he's a great player in this league. Don't get me wrong, but like he probably should be better than he is. Put him on Bedsy's wing or Bedsy on his wing. Like that'd be fantastic. It sounds great, but I do like what you brought up.
I don't think they're, but it's just the idea of something like
it's
that.
It's a fun
like,
idea. Yeah.
You need to, it's a fun idea. Maybe you look at a team like Buffalo where things are really maybe getting to a point of frustration to the point of boiling over. Maybe, could you pull Dylan Cousins out of Buffalo? Could you pull something like that? Like Dylan Cousins, I think is a player that could be on this team for a long time as a really impactful player.
I think Dylan Cousins. I that situation's way more plausible than like a Matt Barzal. Like think
Okay,
about
well
if you were
then,
in
that's what I'm
How
talking
about,
about.
how
Those
about
are the
Mr.
kinds of moves I'm
Instagram
talking
hockey,
about.
Trevor Zegras?
Yeah, I mean, Zegras, you'd have to believe that he could become a part of the core here. I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying, that like you could look to buy. Great question from the Discord. But
You brought up Roberto Longo, right? The Panthers bringing back a forward piece, to mentor this young core.
But
How about
he
a
was-
forward piece to bring back for the Blackhawks, who's struggling right now with the Red Wings? Let's bring back Patrick Kane. No,
yeah,
it's
but
not
you
happening.
can't
That's
give up
over.
assets. You can't give up
Yeah, I
assets
know.
for that.
I'm just joking. Yeah. Yeah.
If they would do it for a third round pick, maybe, but like, I don't know. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So great question from the Discord. Yes, I would make a move, but these guys would not. They just want to sell and be bad for the next 15 years. And watch Connor Bedard become the next Mark Scheifele. Okay, we got a few questions here. Question for tomorrow from Toad. Can't remember if you've been asked this before.
Does he hang out with Luigi?
But anyways, say the Hawks call up Nazar, which they did. How do they shake up the lineup? Because it would be hard to slot him in at 2C over Donato with how he's been playing, but maybe put him on the wing with Bedard or maybe on the second line. And then he DM'd us a follow-up to that question with the news that he's been called up saying, hell yeah. So
Yeah, he spoke that into existence over there.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. I know
Yeah.
Donato's been playing. He has been playing great in that 2C role, but I don't think he has to be there. Like he's played great wherever he's been in this Hawks lineup this season, right? He's a very versatile player. Put him anywhere and he'll do his thing. So I think no, put Nazar 2C, then move Donato. Like Lee said, you could move him up there. He could be in that Mikhail slot in the first line or wherever. Bump Kurashev down, whatever you got to do. But yeah, I think that's the move. You could play him at Betsy, but I imagine they probably want to keep him at center and he'll be a 2C. Yeah.
Lee,
I
no
agree.
thoughts?
Yeah, I think you take Kurashev out. I think you put Donato up on the first. You can't, in my mind, you can't punish Donato. You can't take Donato out of the top six. I think he's been our best offensive player probably. So I think you keep Donato up there. And I said it last night during the stream, I think, that I'd like to see Donato playing. I was about to say it right before Bedard.
Assisted Bedard's goal.
Yeah, right before he assisted that, I was about to say I'd like to see Donato play with Bedard, just because I think that he's has so much desire to shoot the puck, and then he's also, when the puck goes like behind the net, he's so hungry. So I think that he'd be a great. I think he'd
Good
be
in the
better
trenches.
Play him a few games with Bedard, and then cut Kurashev, scratch Kurashev, and put.
Do you keep Mikhail up there then? Because then you got Donato, Bedard, Mikhail. Like, is that the line you roll with?
Yeah,
Probably?
yeah, probably. I think that's more likely. I don't think. If you watch Ilya Mikheyev and like his numbers this season, he's solid. He's really solid defensively, and he does a job, and that's enough to be in this lineup, especially on that line with Bedard, just so that Bedard doesn't have to do the dirty work.
I think he's one of the few players in this team who's like not a negative plus spice. He might be a -1 now, but like every time I check that, like he's always like a +1 or a 0, and even everybody else is like negative a lot, like their golf scores. But yeah, I see your point.
And that's worth something. So
yeah, it is.
Okay. Last question. This one is from Q, and also a very funny comment at the end. And then he sent a very funny video at the end of that. So very engaged fan. From yesterday, I've seen some chatter from Pierre LeBrun that the cap hit could go up pretty significantly with next year in the new CBA. Let's ignore the dollar amount and think about percentage of the cap hit. How much does Bedard get? If the cap hit is $100 million, for easier math, what percentage of the cap is AAV? 15%, 20%? Matthews is at 15% with his current contract. Also, you guys should post on your story asking for questions on Friday. Don't get me wrong, I love the preferential treatment, but I'm curious what other people want to know. Maybe Thursday and Friday before the pod, see if it brings in any extra questions.
This man's coaching us. I like it.
No, it's true. We do answer.
He's got a point though. Yeah.
We answer his questions every single week. So.
Yeah, we do.
He has good questions. He's the question, guys. He's always coming up with the good stuff. But yeah, that's that question. We've discussed a little bit what Betty's kind of could look like. I mean, it's early days. I mean, it could happen this offseason, could happen next. We'll see. But I think he's at least 10 million, at least, and probably much more than that. He's probably gonna, Betts, he's probably gonna get as much as he can. As much as I would like for him to take a discount, right? Help us out here. he's gonna get as much as he can, and he deserves it. Pay the man what he wants, right? I want him happy. I want him locked up here. And yeah, so probably if I had to put a number on it, maybe something in the 12 million range, 12.5, maybe.
I think it might be more. I could see.
I think you're talking 13.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree.
Am I underselling my boy, me?
If Connor
Oh,
Bedard
no.
takes $10 million, we are going to have a live stream right after that it's announced, and we are going to get absolutely.
I didn't say 10. I said at least. But yeah, probably much more than that. That'd be great though.
Yeah,
9.8, 8 by 9.8.
If that's
No
way, no way.
Like
You're
Sidney
dreaming.
Crosby. Sidney Crosby always taking that 8.7.
If he
That's
does
your
that,
role model, Betsy. That's your role model.
if he does that and he takes less than 11, we are celebrating.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna happen, but I could dream. It could be delusional. But you're probably right, at least 13, something like that.
Yeah.
I could
Especially
see it.
if the cap
I could
goes
see
up,
it
think of it
being
more.
I could see it being 13, 13 and a half, 14.
You know what? Yeah, because
If
I'm
he
going
has
this
a monster
production right
season-
now, but it's gonna go up. It's gonna go up.
If he has a monster rest of the season, and like if he scores 90 points this year and he scores 100 points plus next year,
They
and
can
they're
ask for whatever.
terrible,
I hope it does. Give him whatever he wants then.
he could ask for $14 million, $14.5 million.
You could do that.
Hell, give him whatever the max is at that point. Nah, you gotta be strategic, but yeah.
I think it'll
Well, I
also
think the
be
max is
interesting.
20%. You can, or maybe
Oh.
Raven, can you look up what percentage of the cap is the max? I think it's either 18% or 20%. So he asked over $100 million just to cap, just to make it easier. Yeah, I don't know. Would you give Connor? I mean, I'd give, all things considered, yeah, I'd give Connor McDavid $20 million a year to play hockey. Yeah.
I mean, compared to some of these other
Here's the
sports, it's
thing, though.
ridiculous.
Here's the thing, though, with Bedard is then if he asks for an insane amount, as much as he can get, he has to pull that percentage of the points for the team. Like he has to.
But it's
he has an obligation.
no. It's value to the team. No, it's not point. It's value to the organization.
Yeah, so he has to provide a certain amount of value.
Dude, at the value, he should be making $30 million a year based on the value he brings to the organization. Without Connor Bedard, where are the Chicago Blackhawks? Nowhere.
Nowhere.
Nowhere for the next 10 years.
You can't look at it like that, though.
But
you can't just
why not?
Oh, this guy sells a lot of jerseys, so he deserves more money. It's. I don't give a shit about that. It's about production on the ice.
You don't. He does.
You think fucking Kyle Davidson's gonna be like, oh, you sold a jerseys. We're gonna give you $10 million. He's gonna be like, hey, you're not producing at all right now. You're not getting this much money.
What do you mean he's not producing? He's producing.
He is, but I'm saying right now, you would not give him $13 million. And you wouldn't, and I promise you, the Blackhawks bargaining team.
If the option was him not playing,
I promise you, our front office is not going to give him a dollar amount just because he's popular with the fans.
Well, boys, we might have lost Justin.
Oh, that's okay. We're okay.
But 20% Tassos is
20% is the max.
So 22 million total AAV.
What?
That can't be possible.
No, that's not. No. Forget that. But the 20%, the 20%.
That's with the 110 million cap.
Yeah. So 22 or 20% of the his computer died. He'll be back.
So it'd be $20 million if it was $100 million for the salary cap.
Yeah.
He's not in a spot to ask for that right now. And also, who knows? Didn't Matthews sign like a bit of a bridge deal first?
Yeah, well, they all did. Matthews and Marner did.
Yeah, so maybe Bedard does something like that.
Well, but would you rather that? Like Matthews is not like Austin Matthews is clearly trying to take advantage of the system as best as he can, as every player should.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to sign for 8 years. Like why would you? It doesn't make sense with how much the cap is going up. It doesn't make sense to sign for 8 years.
Yeah.
Anytime you sign for 8 years, it's a win for the team more than it is the player.
Well, unless it's like Brent Seabrook in 2014 or whatever that was. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, some of those, you know what I mean, though.
I see the point. Like, yeah, if you can sign him for 8 years, 11, 12, 12 and a half, you do it for sure.
I think if he agrees to 12 and a half times 8, that's a steal.
My computer just died and I was gone for a while. Y'all are still debating this?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Get whatever he wants.
Yeah, you should give him whatever he wants. I
Yeah,
agree.
like we talk about production, man. Like Betsy has more assists than anyone else in this team has points. He is this team. So yeah, I mean, in terms of that, I think that solves that debate. Also, I want to bring up something. It's kind of random. Have you guys seen the show Entourage?
Yeah, of course. I love that show.
Tassos kind of sounds like Ari from Entourage.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, in a good
don't
way.
even-
He's got like, I mean, in a good way. He's got like that boss man like voice.
That's how I feel when I walk into the studio and I walk in. Lloyd, that's literally what it feels like.
I just wanted to put that out. I thought that was funny.
Fucking great comparison.
Ugh.
Justin, somebody commented on one of our reels saying Justin looked like a player.
Oh yeah. So what was the player again? Wasn't it like
It was Donato. It was Donato.
It was
Oh yeah,
Donato.
Donato.
Yeah,
Slightly
a
off
little
topic,
bit.
but speaking
Yeah,
of Donato,
kind of
I see a
forehead a
strike.
little bit.
Yeah, slightly off topic, but speaking of Donato, I see a striking resemblance between him and Mr. Lynch. Justin's Hawks equivalent doppelganger? Question mark.
Yeah, get me out there on Betsy's wing. I'm the answer. I love that comparison. I was very much like that in hockey. Like I wasn't necessarily, not to say Donato, he's a talented player, but it's really his work ethic and his drive is what makes him the player he is. I think that was me in hockey. I wasn't the most skilled or the most talented, but I give it 110% every shift. So I think that's a good player comp for me. I like it.
Somebody at work once told me that it was a customer at work, but they told me that I look like Ben Roethlisberger.
Ooh.
Just
Oh my gosh.
crazy.
All right, should we hit a break here and come back with NHL or on the other side?
I just saw something in chat about a Craig Smith injury.
What? Well, he was out that one game because of maintenance. Is that new?
No practice for Craig Smith today. Back. Alex Vlasic's out too for maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah, lower back injury for Craig Smith. That's not ideal.
At least Vlasic is just maintenance, so he should be fine. But yeah, that's too bad for Craig Smith because he's been fantastic in that fourth line, Bruin and Reichel. So hopefully that's not a long-term thing. I do find it interesting, though, like he did miss the one game, right, against the Rangers, then comes back in. Maybe that wasn't a great decision. Maybe he was rushed back, but hopefully it's not aggravating something that was making it worse, right?
Yeah, I don't want to be WebMD and try to speculate.
Yeah, no, we're not doctors.
Maybe bring up Landon Slaggert. Play 45 minutes.
Yeah, let's get more Rockford guys up here. Screw it, bring everybody up. But Slagger, he played 16 games. I've talked a lot about him too, in addition to Nazar. Like he played 16 games in the Hawks last year. Did not look out of place at all. I think he could definitely play in the NHL now. 22, 23 years old, 2020 draft pick. Why not? He saw him in that bottom six, that fourth line. Yeah, I'm down.
Okay. All right. Let's take a quick break. Make sure you are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Make sure you are following us on Instagram, which I'm pretty sure all of you are, if you are here. And make sure you tell a friend or another Blackhawks fan in your life about this show. It really means a lot to us. And we're going to talk a little bit about the NHL and tee everybody up for the weekend on the other side here. So stick around. All right, NHL Hour, wrapping up the week here. Chicago Hockey Radio. A lot of games. 1 game tonight, 15 tomorrow, all but 2 teams play. I still think that's weird. I know we're on NHL Hour, but I do think it's weird that the Hawks play another game in between the Islanders games and the Islanders don't. I think that's weird that they don't play tomorrow, but nonetheless, a lot to tee up on the weekend. I don't know what we wanted the big topic to be. A lot of goals last night.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh
Jesus.
beating up on Montreal. Tampa Bay putting up 8. Nikita Kucherov had 6 points. That was unreal. I don't know where you guys wanted to start.
Kucherov had a crazy assist in the game last night where he, I think it was on the power play. It was one of Gensel's goals. He just hauled ass all the way back and made an insane back check, stick lift, and then had a crazy pass up ice, got up, and then passed it to Gensel. It was one of the best plays I've seen in a while, just across the whole ice, both zones.
He's got to be the best passer in the league right now, best playmaker, Kucherov. It's insane what he does.
Dude, so he had 6 points last night. He's now, I know he's second in the league in points, but he's first in the league in points, okay? He has 25 games played to McKinnon's 31, and he's only 3 points behind him.
Are we going to get another Kucherov McKinnon Hart standoff here?
Yeah, it's going to be. It's already that. I think Kucherov could beat him with less games played. It's crazy.
I think if we're talking Hart, I think, or you're talking Art Ross, or you're talking Hart?
Art Ross.
Between those two.
Yeah.
Because I think Kaprizov's in the Hart discussion this year. I think
they won't give Kucherov the Hart, I feel like.
Marty Necas is making a case for himself.
Yeah.
What a season he's having. What a breakthrough.
Connor McDavid's always going to have a case, too.
Yeah. With him, it's like he's already won a bunch, so it might be a bit tougher for him to win more, especially when you're in these tight races. It's good to see, too. Like he's not just running away with these things, right? He's got that competition. Just shows the league getting better.
What do you think? Where do you think all these goals are coming from? You know, like I know you still get like the 2-1 Blue Jackets Capitals game, and you know, but like Edmonton goes into Minnesota and dusts them, and we've been talking about how good Minnesota's been. I'm really high on the Wild, but they just got dusted by Edmonton yesterday, and I don't know. It feels like we're getting game. You know, the Hawks game was 5-4 by the end of it, 9 goals in the net. I don't know. We had
I like to see it. I like
on Boston too. The other night.
Yeah.
The other night, not last night.
Yeah, I'm not sure where, to answer your question, I don't really have an answer. I'm not sure where the goal scoring is coming from, but it does tend to go through these dips and valleys. You talked about a lot in here. But yeah, I think these games just more open now, more skill, right? I think that's a big part of it. But it's fun to watch. I'm enjoying it. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Yeah, maybe just like kind of one of those, it's like a transition period, like about to be the end of the year, after the Thanksgiving break. I don't know, maybe teams are just a little looser right now than they normally are. And it also could just be an outlier type of night where you just saw an insane pumping a few times. Yeah, I don't know, Tassos, unless you think that there's like, some.
Well, I think it's a couple of things. I think goaltending is not as good now as it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
We were talking, so I have some points from the stream last night I want to mention, because we were talking about Jonathan Quick there for a little bit. And maybe it's just like a bias to when we were growing up, but it feels like that era of goaltenders is not like, you do have the class at the top now, but you had prime Henrik Lundqvist and Jonathan Quick and
Carey Price,
Roberto Luongo and Carey Price and Tuukka Rask and Tim Thomas and the list go. Like those guys were.
The goaltending's gotten worse. The players have gotten better.
It's endless. There's literally like 12 guys from that era that could all be Hall of Famers. Like,
yeah,
you consider, like, think about like maybe not the top like 3 guys now, like, but say like the 4 through 8 range right now, none of those guys would be in the top 10 from the last decade's era, Yeah, and like Ben, I don't know if you mentioned it. Ben Bishop has like quietly one of the best, like his stats. If you look at goal, he's got some of the best stats of any goaltenders ever.
Can I read you this stat too? So
What's that?
these are save percentages year over year. Okay. So I'll start 10 years ago. Okay. So the 13 or a little 11 years ago, the 13-14 season, 13-14 season. It was a 9-11 save percentage. 13-14 and 14-15 was the average NHL save percentage. 2 years of 9-11, then 2 years of 9-10, 15-16, 16-17.
Second one.
Then it goes down to 908, 905 for a couple of years. 903, 902. It was an 899 in 22-23, an 898 last season, 23-24, and this season the average NHL save percentage is 894.
Oh my goodness gracious.
So
that is insane.
So over an 11-year jump, it is dropped 0.17. My math is not good, but yeah.
And it just to tell you how much better
0.017.
Tells you how much better like the goaltending was back then and just how much better the players are now. Like 10 years ago, 2014-15 season. Crazy to think. Jamie Benn won an Art Ross of 87 points that season. 87. Like that is unthinkable today. Like that'd probably be like, I don't even know if that in the end of the season.
That's not even
now,
a top 20 player now.
Yeah, no, like not even. So I think the skill has gotten better and the goaltending, like you just don't have all these like Hall of Famers out there now. Like now it's like what you got Shesty, you got Hellebuck, you got guys like that, Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky, but it's just lesser now. It's not as deep as it was 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I feel like there's something to be said. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I just feel like now the regular season feels like it means less than it did for some reason. I don't know. Like I feel like some of these guys now, like the effort and the intensity I feel like was higher back then. And I don't know if I'm tweaking, but I think there's got to be some truth to that, because it's not like, I know the offense is always going to get better and better every year, but it's like that jump is inexplainable.
It does,
but I do like it's the NHL has also spent those last 10 years trying to create rules to spark more offense, like decreasing the maximum size of goaltending equipment and things like goalie, like the reviews, and they're trying to put more goals on the board. It seems like they're more like they call more penalties, right? So they're trying to create more power plays, which leads to more goals, right? Yeah. So I don't know.
I still think that big of a jump though in save percentage is like,
that's insane.
It's got to be something else too, though. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think to your point, the NHL definitely wants it. They want those higher scoring games, bring in more of those casual ESPN viewers, right?
I'd also argue the skill is a lot higher now in the game than it was 10 years ago too. So, you
but
got
not
like Matthew
not
Michkov trying the Michigan last night.
Certainly is, but still, like going from whatever you said, 911 to 894.
Yeah.
Has the skill gotten that much better? Like with you got to think also, like, it's not like goaltenders are as a whole like actually getting worse. You might not have as many elite guys right now, but like I just feel like there's got to be something else there, because that leap from 911 to 894 is crazy.
Well, that point you made to like lesser intensity in the regular season, it does seem like sometimes like these playoff grids are like almost already determined months in advance, where there's not really these big shakeups that there were 10 years ago. Maybe that's a part of it too, where it's like these teams kind of already know where they are at some points, like with the seeding and things like that. Maybe I'm off on something there, but just a thought. Yeah, it's interesting.
I also think that with like social media and everything now, players are so much more scrutinized. Tassos, we were talking about this yesterday. Players are so much more scrutinized about what they do or don't do in the postseason now, that like maybe that kind of has an effect on like guys are like, it doesn't matter what you do in the regular season anymore. Like if you don't perform in the playoffs and score,
I still disagree with that notion.
Oh no,
players.
Some dude on Twitter called me out.
Players still want their cookies. Players still want to, put up points and do well, and
For sure, they want to put up points, but they're not going to
I
be
think
as
it's almost
responsible
the more
defensively.
the more the playoffs matter to you as a team. Like, you know, you and I were talking about Austin Matthews yesterday, and the fact that he hasn't been producing as much this season and whatever. It's because it doesn't matter if that guy scores 80 goals this year, right? If they lose in the first round, it's a failure of a season, correct? So that's more of like, it doesn't really matter for him if the Leafs finish first, second, third in the division, as long as but I think if you're telling me the regular season doesn't matter for the Detroit Red Wings or the Philadelphia Flyers or you know, the New York Rangers right now, they've made it that the regular season sort of matters for them a little bit.
They don't really look like it matters very much.
Well,
they're out of the playoffs right now.
The point I'm making about Matthews is not
their struggle. You know, we've been talking about them struggling for the last 2 weeks and how much of a dumpster fire it is, you know?
The point I'm making is not necessarily that Matthews doesn't want to score during the regular season. It's more so that he doesn't care as much about wins and losses as he does in the postseason.
Well, because that's because of the situation his team is in. That's a perspective thing.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the case for a lot of guys.
I don't think the Dallas Stars really care too much how the regular season goes, right?
No, exactly. I think that's the case for.
I think Dallas knows they're making the playoffs. Well, but I disagree. You know, I think a lot of teams like the Washington Capitals or you know, the New Jersey Devils too, like teams that either like didn't make it last year or, you know, didn't have good showings. Like I think the Colorado Avalanche are still working on a lot of stuff now with the goaltending to getting sorted out. Like they have a long way to, I think these games matter to them, you know, like if the Avs go on a 5-game losing streak, I think that's going to be, you know, that's going to weigh on them a bit. Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
Gotta be in it to win it.
When you see such a massive leap in quality of play from regular season to playoffs, I don't think you can sit here and be like, no, it really matters to these guys, because if it really mattered, you'd see a similar intensity, but you don't. That discrepancy in play from regular season to playoffs exists. You can't just it's not magical, you know. It's because everybody tries to.
Well, yeah, but
because playoffs,
teams,
the intensity is different. The stakes are different.
Yeah,
you know,
there are teams that know they're already out of it. You know what I mean?
The playoffs, you don't have the guarantee of next game, of having that next game, right? Whereas the regular season, you have these scheduled 82 games, whatever. The playoffs, it's you have to win, you know, or you're done. You know, it's different. You're going to play differently in that situation. You know, I know it sounds basic, but it's true.
I think that's kind of.
Yeah, there are teams that know they're if you're the Montreal Canadiens right now, you're not going to muster up, you know, a Stanley Cup playoff like intensity when you don't even really know what a Stanley Cup playoff like intensity is, right? And you're already out of it for this season.
How do you let the retirement home Pens put 9 on you? That is embarrassing.
Yeah, that was bad. I mean, do you want to should we talk about a team? Do you guys want to hone in on one organization? I mean, we talked about it yesterday on the stream how much of a disgrace it is that the Montreal Canadiens are as bad as they are, and
they've been tanking forever, man.
Yeah. I went off on it because I did kind of go off on it yesterday on the stream because I really think it's a disgrace to hockey when look, the reason we do this show, the original 6 matter more. That may come across as whatever. I don't know. I grew up in South Florida. The Florida Panthers, I love the Florida Panthers and hockey down there, but it matters more in these cities. It matters. Those are the 6 cities that hockey can dominate conversation in the sport for a day.
Montreal, it's a religion there. It's the Mecca. I mean, there's not a more storied, historic franchise in the NHL than the Montreal Canadiens. You want to see them competitive. Hockey's more fun when they're in the mix, right? Not just down there in the dumps. Same deal with the Hawks.
But it's different. Hockey's more fun when the Philadelphia Flyers are in the mix. Hockey's more
teams of aura.
Yeah, but the Habs are that's the Yankees, dude. And they are. They're bad. They're awful. Awful. The goaltending is bad. The defense is bad. you have two good forwards, and that's it. Caulfield and Suzuki,
Yeah,
and Slavkovsky's good. Yeah, Cole Caulfield's incredible, but
Kirby Doc has been brutal, man. Like it's not working out there. I think
Nope.
we won the Frank Nazar trade. We're going to see that here.
yeah. I don't know what you guys like. I don't even know what you do, like, because everybody's mad at St. Louis, and is he on the hot seat? And it's more of just like, oh, these,
Your team sucks, dude.
yeah. Your
Well, the
team's
Richardson thing could be a
terrible.
template, right, for the Canadians, right, where they maybe be more willing to make a move there. It's like, who cares if where situation is rebuilding? If you're not getting results, you got to make a change, right? I don't know if it's all in St. Louis, but it's like at least Lane Hudson has like how much assists does that guy have now? Like 20, but he's still looking for his first goal. But that's a positive. But like, there's really not much positives on that team outside of him and like those forwards you mentioned. But it's kind of brutal to watch. Just a lot of cobbled together bottom six players. Yeah, it's just not a good team.
Who had higher expectations going into the season,
Canadians.
the Hawks or the Canadians?
The Canadians, yeah, especially bringing in Lane. To be fair, he's looked good so far with them. He was out for a while, now he's back. But like I thought, with him being back, that would kind of reverse their fortunes a little bit. It hasn't. The team still sucks. Breaking news. So, but yeah, I would say going into the season, on paper, it's a better team than we are, and I would have thought they've been taking longer too than we have. So they're further along in the rebuild. So you would expect them to be the better team. But I wouldn't say I know they're ahead of us in the standings, but honestly, I don't think they're better than us. I really don't
I think
that.
there was a large group of Habs fans that genuinely thought they were making the postseason this year.
That was crazy. There were though. You're right about. I saw it on Twitter. Like I mean, they're
saw it with my own
Twitter,
eyes. Yeah,
yeah, it happened. Yeah, but like I never like. How could you even think that looking at that squad? I don't get it. It was pretty clear it wasn't going to happen this year. And it might not be for a while yet, but they do have a bright future. There's a lot of good players, right? Demidov in Russia, still waiting for him. Good guys in their system, but a lot of the players are here now, though. It's like Sapkowski. What happened to him? He had such a good second half of his season last year. Like he hasn't been the same this season. A lot of those guys just aren't playing the way they should be.
Sometimes he just like goes out there and looks kind of, Bertuzzi-esque.
Disengaged. Yeah.
No, not even like disengaged, but he just looks like a I don't know how to say this without being like so
Lost?
mean, but yeah, not lost. Yeah, I guess lost is a good way to say it. I was just gonna be, like kind of like a dummy out there. Like he just, I don't know, man. Like
deer in headlights.
yeah, a little bit, but it's not like I think of a deer in headlights, and I think of like somebody who's scared. Like he's not scared.
He's not. Oh yeah, he's built to that guy. Oof.
Like he'll just like he'll body anybody. Just like does it like like he doesn't know what he's doing. Like it's like his first time out there. It's like a football player who knows how to skate. But they're like, oh, this is your first time in hockey equipment.
Are you saying the
like,
hockey IQ isn't there with him?
Yeah. Maybe a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah.
But
positioning and stuff. Yeah.
But he, I don't know. They'll figure it out, I think, eventually. But you got to bring in something on and the goaltending is a joke. I know they've got that Jacob Fowler kid in college hockey who, some people think is like the next coming of Dominic Hasek, but they have to bring him into the NHL first. And we all saw with Devin Levi, it doesn't always happen really right away when you bring a kid from college and you stick him into the pipes in the NHL, right?
And with that defense right now, I don't think that would go so well at the moment.
Good luck.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're kind of thrown to the wolves there for sure.
Got Justin Barron and Caden Gooley, I don't know. Not to chirp these guys. I'm not trying to but man, it's bad. It's bad. It's a joke. It's not, there's no competition between them and the Maple Leafs and them and the Bruins and them and the, other teams in the division too. Like the Panthers. Think of the Florida Panthers versus the Montreal Canadiens right now. Like, come on. You can't.
It's like two different leagues.
I don't know that there's a bigger gap between the top and a bottom team in a division right now. But then it's a sizable talent difference.
Yeah, I don't even think the Jets and Hawks gap is as big as that, to be honest. Yeah.
No.
The standings won't suggest it, but like just watching the teams, it's pretty clear.
Yeah, I don't know. The Capitals and the Blue Jackets, no chance. What's the other one? The Canucks and the
Blue Jackets are respectable, right?
No.
The Sharks are respectable.
Vegas and Anaheim.
Vegas and Anaheim, maybe. I mean, Anaheim's looked, that was the other. If we're talking about some bad hockey teams right now, that game with the Anaheim Ducks they played last night. They lost 3-2. It was more respectable to the Leafs, but the night before that game against the Ottawa Senators was unfreaking believable how bad they looked. And Cam Fowl. I feel so bad for John Gibson. Like, talk about a career that's
it's
totally wasted. Totally wasted.
Yeah, I feel like I've been hearing rumors of him leaving for the past
since he's been on the
7
squad.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's never happened out. At this point, it's probably too late, right? I think he's stuck there. That's your career, lifelong mid-career with the Ducks. It's too bad because in his prime, he was quite the goaltender. But I do we know a thing or two about talking about bad hockey teams. We cover the last place one, so I think we're all pretty. we were on the same page in that regard.
But like, I would. There's so many teams that would be worse, like, to be fans of right now than the Blackhawks are. Like,
we have a bright future.
We're on the bottom, but we have so many good prospects.
Yeah.
But like, dude, imagine being like a Buffalo Sabres fan right now. Like,
They've been waiting, man. They have been waiting.
The Anaheim Ducks haven't made the playoffs since 2017, 2018.
That's got to be second longest, I would think. Drought.
the Buffalo Sabres haven't made the playoffs in like 14
Well, yeah,
Since
but
10-11, right?
Everybody knows
10-11
that.
was
Like
last year.
Anaheim was like really good before then.
I mean, the Hawks technically, like, I know there's a 2020 bubble. If we want to get technical, they haven't made the playoffs since 16-17. That was the last like real playoff run too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did make the playoffs. So who did they played Vegas in that series, didn't they?
Yeah, Edmonton, then Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got torched by Vegas.
Yeah, that was not even close.
All right.
And wasn't that there was like it was a play-in, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, the Edmonton series was the play-in.
Yeah,
That was the
Edmonton
play-in.
series was a
Yeah.
play-in.
Yeah, we were like the 23rd place team invited, so we were just given that. But I do want to give a congratulations to the Nashville Predators for passing us for last. We'll see how long that lasts because like we've been kind of swapping a lot recently, but we talk about bad hockey teams, and that's another one right now where it's like there's nothing to look forward to there, and like they should be better. We've talked a lot about them in this show.
Yeah, I think the
terrible.
Preds in San Jose are the only teams that I'd be concerned about taking our last place spot from us. Just not because I think the Preds are actually worse than us. I could just see them blowing that whole thing up. You know, like eventually they're going to start winning more games than we do just because they have more talent. But it hasn't happened yet.
Buddy,
We still have more
Talking
wins.
about the Sharks. Talking about the Sharks being in last. I think the Sharks.
They're fun.
Macklin Celebrini, 2 goals and assists last night. They got that kid Nikolai Kovalenko from the Avs in that deal, whose dad was also involved in a trade for a goalie. We talked about this.
That's funny.
But his dad was involved in the Patrick Waugh trade. His dad was an Av and was involved in the Patrick Waugh trade. Went to Montreal for Patrick
Not
Waugh.
quite the same caliber of goaltenders going from Patrick Waugh to Alex.
Well,
yeah.
Well,
But yeah, I know what you
or
mean.
no. Well, I mean, the comparison would be Blackwood because they brought in Mackenzie Blackwood for Kovalenko. But, the kid had 3 assists last night. I don't know. Like, I think he'll be pretty good for them. And then Georgiev's not like he got... It was bad in Colorado, but Colorado likes to play. Colorado's not the most like defensively sound team in the league. Like
they're
still
okay creating chances.
Yeah, like they play a lot of run and gun hockey, and they need somebody that's like kind of a rock in there. And that's not Georgiev for sure, but he could still win you hockey games, right? And like, he maybe has like a clutch factor that it's hard to call a guy that lets in 5 goals a game clutch, but if you get what I'm saying here, like he's just maybe more naturally clutch than Mackenzie Blackwood is, but Blackwood may be just more technically sound, and that's more what Colorado needed. So I was arguing on my show that this is going to be good for both sides, right?
Yeah,
and
but
like the Sharks, I don't know. I could see Georgiev going in there and like letting in 3 goals and winning a hockey game for them a lot of times if the Sharks can score 4.
The Sharks score a lot of goals, but they allow it to. I mean, you want to talk about an Avs team that's that defensively sound. The Sharks, I mean, as fun as they are to watch, there is 0 defensive structure there.
No.
Jake Wallman is that entire defense. So I think it's going to be tricky, but like if they can outscore your problems, then yeah, the best defense sometimes is a good offense.
Georgiev was still getting wins though,
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing like the bare minimum.
And Nico Rantanen. Now he's got, Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini.
Well, I mean, if Macklin
years, that
does
could
what he
work
did
out.
last night, that's good enough, right?
Yeah, he's been cooking, man. Celebrating 10 goals, 9 assists in 20 games. Pretty much identical start to his career as Bedsy. And yeah, he's looking pretty good over there, man. They got a bright future at the Sharks, and I do wonder if this Calder race, it's very tight to him and Michkov. I mean, I think he's on his heels, but I'm not sure if he was really a favorite there. Like if you can favor one or the other, I think it's pretty close. Would you guys pick between those two or somebody else. Maybe Dustin Wolf in Calgary's in the mix too.
For the Calder race, we did this talk. We did Calder talk a couple of weeks ago, but
did? Okay.
Yeah, we did because we were gonna do a little bit of award talk, and then I feel like we stopped after the Calder. Like I think we did the Calder, and then we didn't.
We talk about so much things. I forget about things we have. Talk about things we haven't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how this goes. You do so much content, and then you don't even remember the content you did, and you're like,
yeah, no.
I think he's gonna win the Calder.
Who do I think is going to win the Calder?
Yeah.
Right now, probably Michkov.
Nazar. I'm just kidding. He's going to come back and steal it. No, yeah, probably Michkov. Since you said Michkov, though, I'll just say Celebrity, but probably Michkov.
Yeah, Celebrity would be fun, though. But Dustin Wolf, yeah. Dustin Wolf's been good. Totally. Been on that train a minute now.
I could see them giving it to Celebrini just because he's North American and maybe can. I don't know. I don't know who the NHL thinks they can.
All right. What else? Anything excite you guys tomorrow? Anything?
Frank Nazar's debut. Now I keep bringing up Frank Nazar. In terms of other NHL, I mean Oilers, Golden Knights. That's a pretty fun matchup right there.
Hockey Night in Canada's Maple Leafs, Red Wings.
Ritual 6. I was just gonna say that's the Red Wings. Man, we talked about a lot of the show, but they are brutal. I mean, they're only 1 point ahead of the Habs. They're garbage. So yeah, I mean that should be a fun one. The Leafs should take that.
The late Hockey Night game is the Bruins Canucks game.
That's
Jake DeBrusk against his old team. Nikita Zadorov and Elias Lindholm against their old teams, even though Elias Lindholm left last night's game against the Kraken.
Yeah. 2011 rematch. Those two teams always have a history. I feel like they're always connected. Yeah.
Sabres are looking to snap their 8-game losing streak against the Washington Capitals.
Has it really been 8 games now? Jesus.
8 games. Man. They have a couple of OTLs in there, but they've lost 8 times in a row.
Vegas Edmonton in the afternoon too is a weird one.
Yeah.
A 5 p.m. Eastern or 4 p.m. Eastern start.
That's like you see that you would swear that it's going to be a 9 o'clock Central Time puck drop.
I know those games are the late ones, yeah. Huh.
And they're making Lightning Kraken, the late one. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I might just go to bed.
Yeah, that one doesn't really move me, no. But Utah Sharks could be fun.
Yeah, and then 5 games on Sunday. I don't know. We'll be doing the Hawks Islanders. And then after that, there's 3 5 o'clock games and 1 6 o'clock game. The Wild Golden Knights should be a pretty good one too. Buffalo Toronto's always a good one.
That's a tough back-to-back for the Sabres, man. Going from the Capitals to the Leafs, yeah, yikes. That could be a 10-game losing streak by the time that weekend's over.
That's a tough back-to-back for the Golden Knights too, going from Edmonton to Minnesota.
Yeah, but Vegas is a team that can handle
on the road, and they played in Winnipeg last night. So they're going from Winnipeg
that's a gauntlet
to Edmonton to Minnesota.
Yeah, that's have fun with that.
That's a crazy flight path.
Yeah.
I wonder. Oh, you first.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say anything. Yeah.
I was gonna say, you know how sometimes they do like the teams that fly, like they'll track what teams fly the most during the season. I would love to know, because generally Dallas is at the top of that list. I would love to know what teams are flying the most. Maybe we could get that for Monday's show, and we could come back with that as a little juicy tidbit of information. But I don't know. I think Dallas is always, just because they're so far, like
they're far from the East Coast and they're far from Canada.
Yeah,
and they're smack dab in the middle pretty much too. That doesn't help. There's nobody really close to them.
All right. Anything else, fellas? It was a good show.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. Good show today, and very excited to see. I'm going to mention it one more time. Excited to see my boy Frank the Tank tomorrow. Hyped.
Okay. Live stream Tuesday, post-game show Saturday, post-game show Sunday. We'll be back with the podcast on Monday. But the live stream on Tuesday is going to be all of us. So that's super exciting. I'm really pumped for all that.
Can't wait. That'll be fun.
That'll be a good time. All right. We will see everybody then. Enjoy your weekend.